18th, 2024 at 6 p.m. We're in the BCISD Administration Building for the boardroom. We do have a quorum present with 6 out of 7 trustees here, and this meeting was posted according to Open Meetings Act. This evening we have our chief saying the pledge for us for our indications. So Chief Cunningham, if you would come forward, I would appreciate that. Y'all would please stand.
Let's pray. God, Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight. First of all, thank you for every blessing that you have restored upon us. Lord, as we gather here tonight, I ask you to humbly look upon our school board members, our superintendent, our students, our parents, and all of our district employees. During this meeting, as the business of our district is being conducted, help them to be guided by your spirit. May they be wise in their discernment, balanced in their judgment, fair in their decisions, and visionary in their planning. Lord, we ask this in the most powerful name we know, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Now, pledge.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
honor and Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
All right, moving through our agenda, our celebration of excellence. Dr. Mack, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yes, thank you so much. We were excited looking at the summer months, just another opportunity to celebrate. And I have to admit that this idea came a little bit because I wasn't in town when one of our honorees had their most recent celebration and earning their doctoral degree. And so we said, well, how about we just honor everyone? And please, if you have your regalia, please wear it. And we're also going to invite the staff back for a group photo for our year in review publication. I think it's important that our students see that the staff that we have strives for excellence. Also, in a future meeting, we will be honoring, which is a big deal to everyone as well, our dual credit staff, our college professors. A whole lot of people may not know that we employ double-digit college professors that work for BCISD, which leads into our associate's degree program. And of course, we just celebrated a dozen of those students graduating with their associate's degree. So it's a lot of good news, a lot to celebrate. So if you all would please step forward and when I call your name, Dr. Carla Davis, and I think we might be missing one. Dr. Kara Cowler. Dr. James Nolan. That's Toronto.
Mine's in storage, I'm so sorry.
And finally, the individual who I missed her ceremony, but I'm so excited to include in this honor tonight, Dr. Edmondson, please come forward. Congratulations.
To Dr. Mack, as well as Dr. Jones. But for honoring those, that's a big deal to have that many doctorate graduates in our district that are pouring into our students at the level that they do. So I truly appreciate you bringing those to the table and us being able to. All right, moving on to good news. I will start because I was randomly on the internet. I don't know when it happened, but the new website is up and live, and it is great. Y'all have done, I know there was a lot of behind the scenes work on that, and it is fantastic. So thank you for the hours that went into that from all the different departments to make that happen. That's a big deal. So thank you.
Mine's kind of good news and kind of sad. Me and my wife walked out of Twin Homes for the last time. We had 8 years in a row of Twin Home students. And it was kind of bittersweet because you're excited to move on and everything, but they kind of brought back all these memories of Twin Homes and all the teachers and everything that worked there, and just how long we've been there and everything. And it brought a tear to my wife's eye that she was leaving Twin Homes. And so it's kind of just a big thank you too to all the staff over there, that all of our districts, the teachers are great, but we were just reminded of it as we were walking out of Twin Homes, of all the hours and everything that they put in, the heart and the soul that they put in there, just to walking away, and you're like, this is it.
Well, wait, Dr. Toronto's gonna get two tonight. Dr. P, I'm sorry, but I was just visiting with Dr. Toronto earlier today. You know, we've been talking about budget. We've been talking about being innovative and looking at different things in the past. You know, we talked about transportation and some of those grants, several safety and federal programs grants as well. So I'll pass along some other reminders of great news. And Dr. Toronto had announced to us that, you know, we know that we serve our special needs populations, and some of those are considerably at a high cost. And we also use contracted services to serve our students as best we can. And Dr. Toronto let us know that there was a couple of grants, but one of them through Region 10 was for $50,000, I believe. So congratulations on that. And thank you for the whole crew that goes above and beyond for applying for these grants. We've gotten several this year, or we've also started, by the way. We've started a good news page that all of the executive team and get on there and add stuff. But at every, no, but I think they would vouch for me that every meeting here recently, I said, you know, let's pour something in there. And so it's a shared document that I'm going to share with you also when you're out in the public, share some of these specific things that are going on that are great in the district. So I'll absolutely share that with you. If this is not, we still have pending your application for high cost funds. So this is just good news on top of good news. We'll find that out in July. So thank you for doing all that, and congrats on bringing that funding into the district.
I'll just add, since our last meeting, we had graduation ceremony, and that went off. Amazing ceremony. It's always an honor to be a part of that. And kudos to the students who pronounced my name correctly first year. So.
It's always a big win.
I wasn't going back.
Anyone have anything else? Right, moving on, we have no public comment this evening, so straight into LSG. Hello, sir, again. Thank you for being here.
Good to be here.
Since 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
Glad to be here. So just looking over last month's meeting to begin with our time tracker. Last month's meeting, it was 121 minutes long. You may wonder, how was it that short? Because I thought we spent more time than that. But part of it was in a budget hearing. So a hearing like that is not included in minutes, along with your time that you spent in closed session. So I excluded that time. So without that time count, it was 121 minutes. 42 of those minutes were spent on things related to student outcomes. And so that was 34.71%. A little low for comparing it to previous months, but you had some really good discussion on some very important things to the district. So understand that. You had one trustee absent, so you had 85.71% attendance. You had 7 items on the consent agenda with nothing being pulled, so that was 100%. And you had 2 other items on the agenda. So a lot of your items are running to consent when you can, which is really good. And you had one goal discussed and 3 goal progress measures, all were on target, making progress. So tonight, what we're going to do in our monitoring is we're looking at goal 4 and goal 5. And tonight, we're going to have Rosie Cummings presenting some of the information, and Anna Flores presenting some of the others. And she's, Anna's going to do the items from her grade levels as well as the high school. So she's going to be presenting that for Mary as well. So when we look at goal 4, the goal there has to do with improving the percentage of 7th grade students who score each grade level or above on STAR math. The increase would be from 22% as a baseline in September 23, 38% by August 28, which is a really lofty goal to be able to advance the whole program that much in that short of time. So when we look at goal progress measure 4.1, this one deals with 4th grade, and then goal progress measure 4.2 deals with 5th grade. So we'll invite Anna to come and present on that. We're going to do 4 first, and we're going to be kind of asking Anna to flip back and forth over those two.
Good evening. So in the goal 4, like Mr. Molina said, the percentage of 4th grade students who score meets or above on a curriculum-based assessment in math will increase from 38% in September of 2023 to 41% by August of 2024. If we look at the last row that represents June of 2024, under all, we are at, well, for this CBA, 58%. For Hispanic, we were at 59%. For African American, we're at 33%. For white, we are at 79%. For ED, at 52%. For SPED, we are at 30%. And for EBs or ELs, we are at 83%. The successes that we can talk about that contributed to these percentages are, well, I will state that these 4th grade students are already at 41% of meets or above in the real STAR test scores from our May test, our STAR. So like if we go back and look at GPM 4.1, that states that we will be from 38 to 41%. In the real STAR test, our 4th grade math students are already at 41% of meets or above. So we also had implementation of pacing guides, which were a huge game changer for us. Weekly PLCs, Tuesdays for data, analyzing data, and Thursday for planning purposes to open up the pacing guides. All our curriculum-based assessments were administered through DMAC so that we were able to analyze the data. And implementation of prime time, which is a campus-wide intervention / enrichment time. That's 4.1.
Okay. 4.2.
The percentage of 5th grade students who score meets or above on a CBA in math will increase from 24% in September of 2023 to 27% by August of 2024. So if we look at the last row for June 2024, under all, we are at, for that CBA, 60%, Hispanic, 62%, African American, 61%, white, 76%, economically disadvantaged, 60%, SPED, 45%, and ELs at 71%. Again, the successes that contributed to these percentages, these 5th grade students are already at 30% of meets or above for our May STAR scores, which is 3 percentage points above our LSG goal. Implementation of pacing guides, weekly PLCs, Tuesdays, again for analyzing data, Thursdays for planning purposes. All our CBAs were administered through DMAC so that we were able to analyze our data, and the implementation of prime time, which is a campus-wide intervention.
That's fantastic. I mean, if you look, you said 30% near 4.2 5th grade.
Yes.
What was their
27%.
But what was their actual star score? And is it 30?
34.
So they've met
We met,
they've met the August 2025.
and we surpassed it by 3.
Yeah, that's great work. I mean, that's just a testament to what y'all have been doing on that campus, the hard work. Great job. Does anyone have any questions about tiny homes? 4.1 or 4.2?
Just want to add on some of those percentages, that again, what we're talking about here is meets level, which is a higher standard. Some school districts refer to passing, otherwise referred to as approaches. So we're evaluating these scores, progress monitor at a higher standard. And absolutely, just we've got a report on star scores, and thank you for making that cross-reference to your meets highest level being over 41% for the fourth graders. Outstanding.
Thank you, your team.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you all of you for your support on your long 17 months.
So let's let Rosie come.
Yes.
She'll do 4.3.
Okay, so, 4.3 is percentage of sixth grade students who score meets, above. On the CDAs, in math, we're increasing 24% September 2023 to 27% in August of 24. So this is based on our CDA. So what you see for November, February, and June were curriculum-based assessments. So what I've done is it's the same graph that you've seen throughout the year, so you can see the comparison. And what I've added for the sixth grade math is, since we met last time discussing sixth grade math, which was the CBA Unit 6, which for February, this one has a little asterisk. I've added our benchmark scores, and then the one that is actually for June, which is the spring semester exam. So you can see in the spring semester exam that the trend basically is going up on that, but our benchmark that you see is closer to what our actual star results are. So did we meet the goal for it overall? No, we didn't. We fell a little short on that, so we got our work cut out for us in the upcoming year with that sixth grade math. But based also too on what Ms. Laura said was the folks coming up to us, they're going to be coming up to a higher level than what we had up to this previously. Earlier throughout this process, that our sixth grade math was on average, not all, but on a fourth grade level, and we used our IXL diagnostics on it. So we have enough time to begin with, not making that as an excuse on it. We have a lot of work still to do. But hopefully when we're coming up, our incoming sixth graders will be already at a higher level to start off with. So again, we still have the dates down there when we had our assessments, and also with our spring semester star, benchmark, and math insurance. We still continued the sixth grade math team plan with our Region 3 support in addition. We still had target support groups with Cancer Time, our Saturday Academy with focus on top pass in sixth grade math. And then the addition of IXL with the student for the diagnostics and our student action plans and those recommendations. That's 400.
Any questions on goal 4?
No, but looking at the seventh grade score, so we're at 31.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
we're ahead of pace.
Yes.
We just gotta keep doing the work. To make sure that the goal.
That we get it. This sixth grade group, I know it's not tracking a cohort as we move up. But this sixth grade group, we got our work cut out for us to maintain not just that 31, but keep going in that forward direction.
Mm-hmm. How did our baseline start at 22? This graph says they were at 30 last year. What was that from the previous year?
For sixth grade math?
No, the goal 4 overall.
The goal is from 24 to 27 for sixth grade math.
The not the GPM, but the goal. The
Seventh
overall
grade
goal 4.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Look at the overall, was over progress measure.
We set the goal for the seventh grade students, but then fourth, fifth, and sixth feed into it. But I'm just looking at the overall goal.
So that baseline, starting on that September baseline, was actually last year's fifth grade. So the first year I did as a cohort, for my goal process, is I'm looking at that same group of kids is going to be sixth grade this year.
Okay,
So that's what that baseline started off at.
got it. We're tracking one set of students through, not one grade year after year.
And then with this students, you gotta remember too, with sixth grade, they have a huge chunk, about half of their teaks are new. Seventh grade doesn't have that high percentage of new teaks, so we're able to build on what sixth grade did. So that's my seventh grade team is a pretty strong team, and then we get to eighth grade.
These good technical questions.
Absolutely. Yeah, really. And tactical, yes. So what were your actual star score for seventh grade?
I have that over there, I have my sixth grade star scores, but I know it was 31 for meets, so I know we met our goal.
Seventh grade,
For seventh grade, our meets and above is at 31.
So you exceeded.
so you exceeded your goal.
Yes.
All of it.
Excellent.
But on the progress measure for sixth grade is
Right.
And like James said, I thought he analyzed it well, you know, these goal progress measures are to drive that goal, to get to that goal. And they should be predictive of you achieving the goal. And it appears that they are, because you've seen advancement on the goal progress measures for the most part. And so now we've achieved the goal, because you're above 26%. Right.
Thank you.
And just a little more to that, we've had this talk before about the difference of the, let's say, early childhood literacy and numeracy with BOI, MOI, and EOI. This also adds to the conversation that a particular score, a CDA, content-based assessment, can be low, but all that does is trigger intervention. It doesn't mean the race is over. That means we're going to slip it into those interventions you stated. And again, I think it's phenomenal. The IXL platform is amazing.
and that's actually we're going to continue as well too. So this is our first year utilizing that platform and getting, first of all, the teachers experience with it and the students as well too. And I believe if any homes still using IXL too, they're going to come into still be familiar with that program. And we're going to be able to just keep utilizing it in a better way and be more efficient with it. On my math, you can actually see with my CBAs, they are higher than like what benchmark shows. Benchmark is that second one. That second one is the lowest one if you're looking at it. And that was a little bit more representative of what STAR results are, but that's also the longest exam that they've been taking throughout the entire year. So CBAs aren't that long. Interim is still, like we talked about, I think last time, I was building it that stamina 40 assessments on it. But that's something that we need to work on as well too. But benchmark is truly the only time that they actually get the practice of an actual STAR assessment. Length of it, the whole set, so.
And also, you told me before that you guys have had, and this is, for me, it's a social study thing, but I think you mentioned that there was much more to you all using development. Exclusively for social studies, you're not, right?
Not, it's a resource with it, so Loman, when we get to, I know we, council talk about social studies for things along that line.
Okay.
But that is one of the things that we are using with it. I do have a rotation of social studies teachers, comment, getting them to be there, and then they're teaching multiple grade levels now with it too, so that does help us really zone in on what they need to focus on for social studies, since that's the first time they tested in 8th grade. They don't even test it, I mean, at least science gets tested in 5th grade.
Correct.
Social studies, that's first time out.
Same way across the state, it's the same story, it's the first time that they see it. And so, no, but I've heard great things about Loman, and so I'm sure long term, I'm excited to see that.
I look at it as a leap forward, but like on steroids, because they really go into it, they go back so far. You can click on whatever that start question looked like all the way back, I think 10, 15 years, if not more. They go back as far as they can on it. And they've already updated this very quickly too. So it's, if you're an 8th grade social studies teacher and you're trying to make up for things that have or have not been taught all those previous years, and you only have not even a whole year to do it, because they're testing in April, so you really got to use your time wisely and efficiently on that, and Loman really helps them target what you did.
You mentioned something about this particular cohort in the 6th grade.
Mhm.
So this has been kind of following them throughout the years of their maybe on the lower end, is that what you mean by this particular cohort?
I can attest to what they were previously on that, I just know we're doing the diagnosis through IXL. I think it was the last time, probably in February, when I had the IXL, that snapshot for sixth grade on it. The bulk of the students, not all, fell within that fourth grade level. And that diagnostic was done at that time of the school year, so that wasn't even the beginning of the school year diagnostic. I did have some outliers that were in high school level math, even in sixth grade, and I have some that were on first and second grade.
So last year, when you did that same testing, where lower the bulk of
We didn't have IXL last year. This year was the first year that we actually used IXL.
We aligned ourselves with IXL.
okay. And then it's the sixth grade, I would think, just like in everything else with the sixth grade, there's probably gonna be a little bit of a dip in the sixth grade, because there's so much transition. The testing, I'm sure we did everything, is that right, to assume that with the test scores are gonna dip a little bit in the sixth grade and probably get in the ninth grade, is that?
Very much so.
Does IXL, do y'all use that all the way down through where y'all stop using IXL? Like,
Goes, yes.
oh, just those two, okay.
And is Mosher using IXL now, or was that the?
Does go all the way up.
It does.
Go all the way up.
Because my students all have access to IXL, you've got two different ways to use it. You've got the grade level sheets that the teacher can assign, this is the sixth grade skill we're working on, boom, this is grade level. The diagnostic will meet the kid where they're at and say, okay, yes, this is sixth grade material, but here's the skills that you need based on what level you are on the diagnostic. It could be fourth, it could be 10. And so my kids have access, I'm sure hers as well too, all the way from beginner material up to 12th grade material. So it's not just for closing gaps, it's also for pushing my kids that are above a grade level as well too.
Rosie, the diagnostic on that,
Yes,
is that timeline sensitive or just overall teach sensitive or what? That,
It's
and
just
y'all
skill.
get back to me because you had no
Yeah.
idea. what was gonna
it's
happen.
skill on that, so when they're doing it, but they can do it throughout the year, like, so we're using it for summer school as well too. We're doing it at the beginning of the summer school, and we're also doing it at the end of the summer school, just so I can see where they've gone from the beginning to in these short 13 days that we have. Because it's something that we can use throughout the year on, and it's only for math and for reading. If the student doesn't happen to know that question, they'll move on, they just have to do their best, and they'll sign what they need to do at that point. We in the junior high don't only have it just for math and reading, it's very hard to find social studies resources like this, got Bowman, but we also, IXL also has social studies as well too. So we have that, and also for science, so it's one platform that not only the staff has to learn one platform, but also the students too. Not this for this and that.
It also has that topaz component.
Yeah. Self-pass, STAR, also our Spanish classes, Spanish 1 and Spanish 2, we actually have that for them as well now too.
Can the students log into this from home? Okay.
Yeah.
So we sent out 5 days.
Except that when they log in, they don't have that icon for them to get into IXL. So when they log
into what?
to Clever, I believe it is.
Okay.
And there's different things with IXL that we're learning more about too, that it's something that we can do like for Christmas church. We're gonna try to do it this year, just didn't have enough knowledge to do it, but you can set like leaderboards on it, each of them, how much time they spend on how many correct answers they have.
Yeah,
It's a chore list, it's like, hey, you guys do so many little.
Yeah, so instead of having that lovely packet during the break, hey, get on IXL and then see who's at the top of the leaderboard. And get back in.
And then you've already got graded stuff, and you're not handing the teacher, welcome back to break, there's 5,000 pages.
So there's a lot of ways that they can use it, and it's great too, because even on the scale, some of them are actually quite better and have videos too.
Yeah.
So even if the child is looking at it, and the teacher can't get to the child, right there's a video, but the parents helping the child, there's a video.
Be a great push to do over a summer. Like here's something your kids can do over the summer type deal. Just to refresh, to keep them going. We have such a learning loss that we see when the kids come back at the beginning of the school year that we're trying to catch up on. So it'd be great to.
And not everybody's gonna do it.
Right.
Every kid that does, that's actually, yeah.
I mean, still a lot, it has a lot of things that are available to us, it's just us getting more and more.
Right. And as time goes on, we get more familiar with it, it'll morph and change. Great. All right, any other questions?
That's available through personal computers at home, they can get to that website.
They have a school login, correct?
A school login, yeah, they can get on at home, it's not just when you're at school.
Not just Chromebook.
Yeah.
School.
I think you can even download it. I mean, my kids have used it over, and I think you can even download it.
Okay.
To where you can do it in an app.
IXL, 3 letters.
Yeah, and you can, I mean, there's an app that my kids used to get on it. Yeah.
But as far as the spotlight, you can look at the assessment piece on it, and so for STAR, it will have the skills that that they need for that particular STAR, that core, that content. For our students that are telepass.
Right.
Has that is there as well. It also ties into textbooks too.
It's a great resource for the district and for parents
Yes.
that maybe don't know all of the, I know math change the way that you don't just add 2 + 2 anymore. It's like you have to do all these other things.
Right.
It's a great, because it has a little resource, a little video there to show them. So I think it's a great thing. Thank you so much.
So when we look at goal number 5, this one deals with the percentage of first-time English 1 EOC testers scoring meets grade level or above on the STAR would increase from 53% in September of 23 to 58% by August of 28. And so just a real modest gains over those years is what we're looking to try to achieve. And the way this is worked out is goal progress measure 1 is 9th grade. We're actually looking at 9th grade scores. Goal progress measure 2, goal 5 has to do with 8th grade. And then the third one, the third goal progress measure is 5th grade. So we're going to start with achieving report on 5th grade. Let's kind of work our way backwards.
So LSG goal 5. The overall percent of 5th grade are the students that score meets grade level or above on the CBA assessment will increase from 36% in September of 23 to 39% by August of 24. So if we look at the very last row for June of 24, under all, so you will see the same data for April and June, and that is because in April we did not take. So the last CBA that we took was a STAR blitz, when we had already taught all of our content, and so we start calling them STAR blitz at that time. So you see the same data for April and June, but we did not have a CBA in May. So for June, I have to use the same data that I used in April. So we're at 62% for all, 63% for Hispanic, 67% for white, 50% for ED. 29% for SPED, 43% for African American, and 62% for ED. Successes that contributed to this, these 5th grade students are at 36% of meets or above in our May STAR scores. So we stayed at 36. We did not meet our goal of 39%. Other successes, the race writing strategy, which is also aligned to the high school's writing strategy. Again, implementation of pacing guides, our weekly PLCs on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Our CBAs, which are all now in DMAC, implementation of prime time, which is a campus-wide intervention enrichment time.
Okay, so now Rosie's going to cover GPM 5.2, which deals with the 8th grade students.
It's 5.3 for 8th grade. So the overall percent of 8th grade on grade students that meets score meets grade level or above on CBAs will increase from 47 to 50% by August 24. So based on our spring semester exam, we're at 66% for everybody, 69% Hispanic, 64 white, 58 economically disadvantaged, 10% SPED, 67% female races, African American 52, and our EDs at 66. You can see on this versus the math side of it, the number of assessments throughout the year. On that, with math, they're testing at the end of each unit. Pretty much with ELAR, they're doing it towards the end of 6 weeks. I did include the benchmark, which was the last one that we had on there for the April. And then the spring semester exam, which is June. So with our overall STAR scores, we actually were very close to the benchmark. At the benchmark, we're at 38% meets, our star scores ended up at 41, math was a 17, and we're actually at 17 for actual star for 7th grade B1. They do have the dates of assessments throughout the year. Again, same thing with the target student groups for Panther Time and with our Saturday Academy of ED students. Still working with grades and 3 as well too, and again, also using High Excel for 3.
Questions? Thank you.
And this board is just gonna report on the 9th grade results at the end of the year for the GP.
Marilyn Mosier is currently at the Abbott conference presenting Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So she asked me if I could please present her data for her, and I said yes. So the overall percent of 9th grade English 1 students that score meets grade level or above on the curriculum-based assessment will increase from 55% in August of 23 to 55% in August of 24. So if we look at the very last row for June of 24, hold on. So we have 57% under all, 57% under Hispanic, 72% under white, 54% under ED, 0% under SPED, 40% under transfer, 39% under African American, and 44% under ED.
Can you repeat that all?
57%. 57%.
For some reason, Mary, when she entered the information template, is slightly different from what she gave them.
Is that the first time English 1 testers?
Yes.
Yes, first time English 1 EOC testers. For GPM 5.1.
So our final,
Just for February though, right?
ours only goes through, it says November, December, February.
February, yeah. So, yeah. So that 5.1, is that all English 1 testers? And then the five goal is just first time?
This is the overall percent of 9th grade English 1 students that score meets grade level or above.
Well, so is there different data besides the February? Do we have more past the February? Is what?
Yes, I have April and June. Do I need to put it under a doc?
Yeah, okay.
Do you have copies of that?
No, we didn't say that.
You're just fine.
It's not a sticky
Yeah.
So all students were at 57%.
Yes, ma'am. Hispanic
At 57,
57, white 72, ED 54, SPED 0, transfer GR 40%, African 39%, ED 44%.
so overall, we hit the annual target for August 2026. So we exceeded the annual target, correct? Which should be 55% for August 24.
Yes, so it does say, and she has it highlighted in yellow, exceeded our overall yearly goal. So we were supposed to be at 55% in August, and right now in June, we are at 57%.
So you probably maybe But looking at the special ed population, and just overall from November to January, we have 2, and then we dip down to 0, and
Yes.
10, and dip down to 0 again.
Yes.
Is there something?
So she does have an explanation for
Okay.
that, and it says, challenges. Staffing matters led to loss of 2 inclusion teachers, student apathy and struggles with reading, and changes to the writing scoring rubric.
Then TR is 2 or more races, right? Not transfer.
That's correct.
Oh, I'm
And their CBA, so just because they got a 0 on the June one, doesn't, I mean, they got a higher score on a different one, because they're just snapshots in time, right?
Yes.
So their overall end of course would have been a 0 would have been something different.
Yes, she does highlight successes that contributed to this data implementation of the RACES strategy, her weekly PLC meetings to review data, teacher and student growth trackers. Then she also has a focus plan for next year to be able to address the areas where we did not meet the goal. And it says adjust inclusion schedule for strongest support in ELA classes. Ongoing training for inclusion staff. Support for ELAR teachers with planning accommodations and small group instruction. And a focus on the writing rubric with students through the reading/writing processes to emphasize integration. So she already has a focus plan as well.
Thank you for doing that for her. I appreciate this. Or I was confused.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to apologize to you all, because I think that was my mistake. Whenever I copied it, I remember when I hit the button to transfer information, adjusted that field somehow. So I went back and I copied and pasted the old one back in. I must not have. So I'm
Not
sorry
a
about
problem.
that. But we did get it, thanks to
Yes.
Mary, and Anna, we got the information.
Thank y'all.
Thanks for that. And so, I think you can see from the results that, for the most part, we're hitting our goals, that we set. And so I think that's fantastic work. Really proud of the work that they're doing.
Good question.
So whenever we're looking at like this goal on like the CPA, we wanted it to go up like 3%. So then would it be fair to like, because the CPA is not gonna match the star, or it's completely different things. But if we're trying to go up 3% on the CPA, would it be fair to say we're trying to go up 3% on the star?
Your standard, the TDA usually sends out.
So if we set our goal for a 3% increase on the CPA, then we can kind of look over here, even though the numbers aren't the same, we can still look at that 3%.
And the overall goal is set to star. So if you back up to just 5 and no adopting anything, that's for sure star.
So that's only the first time.
Well, because if you recall at one meeting, I don't remember, she talked about that if you don't pass, they have opportunities to come back and just, so it's those actual true freshmen that we're looking at in this goal 5.
Yeah, she felt like that would be more reliable data on how effective the instruction program.
Right.
Because they're receiving instruction right now.
Right, and so they take it, but
Look
some
at
of
the
those
first time
kids have
test.
to, have to go back and retake it, so that's.
But
what
Mark, you
she's-
had a really good, that's a good question, because what you're asking is, are these GPMs predictive of the star outcomes? And I think you can see they are, because the star scores, and I think we're gonna see some more preliminary star scores here to be able to kind of compare how.
So why does our starting point on 5 say 3, but then it's more?
9, that's the question I asked for the math on 5th.
Or
Or
7,
7.
2023 on this chart, but the same doesn't match.
No, and it didn't in the 7th grade either, but I think you gotta go back to the 8th grade, maybe, or the 7th grade, I think.
Yeah, these,
Yeah.
you're talking about this year.
Yeah.
I don't think that will be a thing. That's brand new.
No, but it has a
The-
2023.
Oh,
It's got a baseline, yeah, where did the baseline come from? We're trying to find it on the 2023
We're
stars.
saying our baseline is a 53 for goal 5. But then over here on 23 is a 45.
I think they were tracking the cohort.
Right. Was
Yes.
that the eighth grade then?
Okay.
Just like Rosie was saying,
The eighth grade was at 55.
the fifth grade score is what was used as the baseline for sixth grade this year. Same thing should be.
So in English, we're tracking it from fifth grade. All the way up until they take their very first EOC English 1 exam when they are freshmen.
2023 is 36. For sixth grade. Forty-nine, seventh grade, 47. Eighth grade, 55. Yeah. That's what I was wondering about the seventh grade. Roll as well.
Figure it out. It's not.
You're trying to figure out if the CBAs are, if what they score on CBAs.
No, I'm saying CBAs away. The goal forward is by itself as a star goal.
Goal
Right.
scoring, goal
So
5.
we started at 22, but where did 22 come from?
Yeah,
And then for
and
goal
then
5,
this
it
one
started
started
at
at 53, where's 53 come from? Because we're looking at the 2023 scores and none of us got 53.
53, I believe, came from, is that the junior high goal? That's the start.
This is
That's
started,
the
the
start.
overall start.
Yeah, for that one, it was mine.
So you're just wanting to know where the baseline, the September baseline came from on the actual goal.
Yeah,
Right, and then that's gonna determine, like, if we didn't really start at 53 and we're trying to go up 5 points, you know, then we started at 50, then, you know,
Just making sure I'm tracking.
Good questions. On Monday, July 22nd, I'm coming here with the leadership team. We're going to review the goal progress measures and the assessments that we're using for that. And redo them for next year. With the leadership team and then present them to you at a future board meeting. We will make sure we write down how those baselines are determined. And then we have a record. Because when we did that last summer, we talked about it as a team. Pretty sure the principals know that I personally did document that. And I'll make sure we do that this year. Good point.
Both finals are.
all of them.
All, so they.
Well, I didn't look at 1, 2, 3, but yeah, four, they're all as well, not all, but they're star goals, so we can like, we can just check this one real quick. Third grade students who score meter above star, increase from 23. So third grade, star reading.
third grade reading.
It's
23.
So that one actually matches.
Yeah, the seventh grade, the 704 seventh grade baseline is 22%, which last year meets was for star 22%, sixth grade math.
Sixth grade.
That's the
I
cohort.
can tell you on the junior high ones, I use that previous grade levels
Yeah.
ending stars for it as their baseline, because that's the next, that grade level is gonna be that grade level.
Are we gonna stay with that same grade level? If
So
it's
that
who
is
we're
just,
tracking, or?
because we're not tracking the cohort, just for that baseline was the starting point. And that they used as the baseline, and from there, did increase the percentages up, because it's gonna change based on, that's not going to be that grade level at the end of the 5 years. So that was just the starting point where we're at now. If we're looking at the data that I have that's gonna be coming up, or the students I have coming up to the junior high, with the resources input into Tenny Homes the past year and a half, my kids coming into the junior high should come up stronger.
Right.
And I know Mr. Williams was saying that we're gonna have to adjust the goals based on what it is. I know we made 5-year goals, but each year I think we look at them, don't we, or if I'm not mistaken?
We don't look at the goal. We look at the goal progress.
Progress, yes.
Right.
But when we were doing this, she was trying to determine where to start, and that was her decision. But we wouldn't look at that again, the goal itself. The goal, the starting point is set, and she used the number that the previous grade level had attained. But of course, with your goals, you're not really looking at a cohort of students moving through grades. You're looking at program success. And so that's a totally different animal. So that, no, the goals won't change.
So we
Goal
set the
progress-
baseline for sixth grade math, But the progress is measured, same group of kids, seventh grade math. And then as we get to year 3, it's all, and year 4 and year 5, it's gonna be seventh grade math. We're gonna peg it right there.
That's
But your baseline was last year's kids, okay.
That's correct.
Because this year's kids, this
That's
year's
been a
kids
handle.
started the year,
I understand that.
and we had to have a baseline, so we wouldn't use last year's star scores as a baseline, so we used what theirs was
Yeah.
coming into it.
Just
That
the
was
star
the freshest
song.
data.
Uh-huh.
So it sounds like you're doing a cohort, but you're not. These kids' scores from the end of that.
But we're not gonna follow those kids anymore.
No.
We're gonna peg those seventh grade.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay.
So I need clarification, because, for the record, all of them are wrong?
No,
No.
fifth we can't find, fourth we found, or goal 4 we found, but goal 5 we can't find where it came from.
How about goals 1, 2, and 3?
One of them is, registration goal where.
Well, one is correct.
Okay, I'm just making sure, because we did say all.
3 is a CC more. Well, they did match, none of them matched this current year, they're all baseline for different years, but we're just making sure we understand. So 2 is third grade in math, and it starts at 19. And we went down to 18. But, so they used the one that's on here, so they didn't go back a grade on this one.
This
Because
is-
it's 55.
Okay.
Because you can't go back straight. So that-
That was a goal that I.
We'll get that right.
Just go 5, because then we don't see where
Make sure we have it.
I think that's the one.
We're also gonna try to,
5.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
and we're also gonna try to work on more ways to make sure the board has the opportunity to, talk about the vision and goals of the district. Out in the community. So we're gonna try to, come up with some dates ahead of time, with some activities that we can present and have you guys commit to ahead of time, maybe by name, put it on the calendar. So we make sure that we're really fulfilling.
And I think it would be useful, we have this goal 1 page, right, and it shows baseline, and then August 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. But then, these numbers aren't gonna change, because these are our set goals, but we know where we are, but it'd be nice to have another column that showed our progress.
Your actual,
Right, and so you're above it or below it, but, and because this page will stay the same every year, no matter what.
Yeah.
But if you add another column with your actuals in there, you'll show yourself progressing towards the end goal.
very good, good idea. Suggestion. Like it. We'll work on that. Thank you very much, folks. Appreciate it. So good reports. Thanks to the.
Real quick, Tony, you always ask us on engagement.
Yes.
And so I know it's not on here, but we want to mention it. I met with Bridget English, our new chief of communications. And so we are rolling out a new initiative. We've notified the principals. Each campus is going to have a spotlight day. And so we will be on site. Of course, we'll be invited as well. Kind of a combination where some of you have toured with us. There'll be a tour aspect. There will be an LSG aspect. It won't be a giant crowd. It'll be a crowd that we can get around, but to show off the great things and the hard work that's going on, and also talk LSG. And so we already have those dates. I'll pass them along. We had an update today on one of them. So we haven't sent them out yet. We have the dates. There's one correction. I think it was a Fair Week or something that caused the change. So that's coming y'all's way. We're really excited about it. It's a great idea. Thank you for bringing that to the team.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Right.
We're gonna cover the preliminary star scores.
Yeah.
So you guys were provided with the preliminary report. I did some updates between when I gave that to you, so I'll just point some of those out to you. We'll start with
Mr. Townsend, just real quick, that graphic that you see up there, I think the only thing we changed, just so you can see, is we did just the year color. So it's that with just a different color. That's all. I didn't want to throw you off.
No.
It's the same day.
Okay.
But it may look a little different to the board.
Yes. So looking at the high school first, one of the things that is a little bit different is that I did add, if you look at English, In between, if you look up here, you'll see where it says LSG goal exceeded, and that's first time English 1 testers. So the data that's here is different because this is a culmination of all the testers, okay? And so that's why this 57 does not match 48 there. That 48 is all testers meets 48. And so here, this is only the first time the testers extracted out of that. And that's what Ms. Mosier had reported on. So the goal was 55 and they got 57% for first time testers right here. So they did exceed their goal. I added that piece. And then for each campus, they provided kind of what their successes were, some what the challenges were. And you know how we developed a one-pager for you guys this year on what the campus action plans were? So just a little preliminary snapshot based on what they've seen so far in the plans they've made right now, just sharing some of that preliminary ideas of how they're going to address it. And Ms. Flores and Ms. Cummings shared some of that with you already.
Mr. Townsend, we did put that in a folder, what you're referencing, folder to go up to it.
So that was last year's action plan, so I just wanted to.
Game plan, if you will.
Yes, game plan. So I just want to make sure that you guys had that as a reference to what the game plan was last year. And when we come back in September or August and do the accountability report, they'll have updated campus game plan. But we see that algebra had gains. If you look overall, this is the overall campus that we're looking at. And I did this in 2 sections. We did the top, which is just the overall campus with some bar graphs to help you kind of see visual. And if you go all the way below that, then you have it disaggregated into your subpopulations. Okay. So algebra 1 saw the green indicates where you see growth, and biology. We see that we didn't have any growth, but we didn't slip backwards too far. In our English, you'll see a recurring theme of English and reading, challenges in all the grade levels with writing and AI, artificial intelligence being used to grade it. That's why what you heard about focusing on the writing rubrics that are being used and really dealing with that a little bit more. What's triggering the different levels to get a focus on that. So we talked about our English scores, and then U.S. history saw a lot of things as well. And then I have it disaggregated down here for you. Any questions about high school? So some of the things that they talked about was implementing the racist strategy. That racist strategy is restate the question, answer the question, cite evidence, explain, and summarize. That's being used throughout the district. And I know that Ms. Cummings made a big push at semester to do across all content areas. I know that Tenny Holmes has been working on that, and so has the high school. So I think that they really started to see some results with that. So that's a really good thing. So weekly PLC meetings and teacher and student growth trackers. Challenges, they talk about those, and then the focus areas, just adjusting the inclusion schedule, ongoing training for inclusion staff, and support for ELA teachers with accommodations in small group instruction, and then focusing on that writing group. Are there any questions about the high school?
Just almost every category looks like we went up or maintained or even just a 1 or 2 point drop. Except there was challenges in biology. Any thoughts around that?
No, she and I haven't had a chance to talk about that. Our initial conversations were centered around English and the essays, and so we didn't get to biology. I'm not sure what the challenges were that resulted in some of those drops. Most of them were not significant, but we're seeing the B's went from 65 to 58, so there's a question mark there. Okay. And I'm sure she and I will have conversations about that on top of it. High school. Okay. All right, and junior high, Ms. Cummings talked to you about some of the successes and challenges with that and what our game plans were. If we look, we see we've got growth in 7th grade reading and 7th grade math. They did exceed their LSG goal with 7th grade math. The goal was 26, and they exceeded it with 31, and meets or above. And if you go down, I did add this piece, was just the pure junior high algebra 1. scores for the campus, and then also disaggregated at the bottom as well. You'll see that right here. We'll take a look at that. I added that recently. So we did see a little bit of backward sliding, but still very good performance. And I have it disaggregated down there for you as well. So if you look at just the campus, it doesn't look like there was much growth, but if you look within, there was a lot of growth within the subpopulations of different areas. The junior high had a lot of growth all over the place. So there was a lot of good things going on. And Ms. Cummings talked about some of the challenges with math, and of course we talked about reading. And some of the things that they're looking forward to in focus areas is adjusting the inclusion schedule, ongoing training for the inclusion staff, ELR teachers. All of them will be ESL certified by the start of the year to work with those ED students, continuing professional development for those teachers, and support for ELA teachers for planning accommodations, smaller instructions, and that focus on writing. Any questions about the junior high?
The 8th grade reading. Saying about that.
The challenge with 8th grade? Yeah. And I think that it's centered most around the writing piece.
That was our biggest fall.
Grading.
I think that's why you see all the campus principals identify that piece, some of that focus on.
So they only AI grade 8th grade, and then AI grade 7th grade.
Right.
Writing.
Writing.
Oh.
See,
Says reading. Then I'm writing component of 7th grade.
So the 8th grade reading is reading and writing? Okay,
All of them.
Yeah, they all have a writing.
All of them. They all have an essay, they all have
Oh,
short
yeah.
answer
So 7th
responses.
grade is reading and writing also?
With 7th grade AI grade.
So 7th grade AI, or 7th grade reading went up 1, and 8th grade went down 14.
If you're looking at it, if you're looking at numbers to numbers on that, meets is 41 at 8th grade, it's 48 at 7th. So, I mean, it's, yes, it went down, 8th grade did go down, but between the two grade levels, you're looking at a 7-point difference.
Yeah.
So like I said before, and this is when that with 8th grade reading on it, it's not where we want to be. We know we've got a job ahead of us to do on that part.
One of the things too is that, you know, the instructional support for the campus shifted a little bit this year. And then also, we had some help over at Tenny Homes, so instructional facilitators spent quite a bit of time over there at Tenny Homes, helping with that as well. And so, without, you know, an academic dean, and then we weren't able to provide that additional support. And so I think next year, hopefully we'll be able to have that in place, to where we have instructional coaches in all the elementaries, and then our instructional facilitators split their time with the instructional coaches on this campus, but then also try to provide more support in the absence of an academic dean with the junior high and high school.
Because those kids are gonna go into the high school now 14 points lower than what they were last year.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Downs, if y'all remember, the piece when we all got together, your ELR initiative, talked about how it would impact the pacing guides. Was that part of the writing component as well, or reading?
The literacy framework?
Yes, when we met in here.
It will, yes, it will address it. And so that's one of the things that I'll mention very end of what we're doing as a district to help address some of those things. But that's an excellent point, Doc. But I'll get to some of those things. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can I interject one thing, just to clarify, I think will help?
Yes.
So the kiddos that are going to the high school are not 14 points lower. They're actually, that's last year's, it's a different group of kiddos, that's the same cohort. If you're looking at 7th grade reading last year, that's the 8th graders that are this year. So the 7th graders last year were at a 47, so they did slide back a little bit. They slid back 6, if you're looking at cohort to cohort, I mean, grade up the same group of kids. So it's not the same kiddos that dropped 14 points. The grade level from year to year dropped, but the cohort of kids did not. They dropped 6, they didn't drop to 14.
Yeah, says if I'm a freshman teacher,
Right.
and last year I received 55s, this next year I'm receiving 41s.
Yes,
That's
it's gonna be more of a challenging
right,
year.
it is more challenging, then it's gonna kind of trickle down.
Yeah, just like my 6th grade now, very similar to that. We get what we get, and based on where they come to us at, that's how hard we have to work and keep working even harder.
Also, to Tony's point, though, at the same time, we do look at the program, just in
Right.
case there's patterns within the content for both of us.
Yes, and then the changes within like this assessment itself is that we have experienced this year as well too. Like Mr. Townsend said too, it was a change for us for academic support too. So based on the budget changes that are necessary on that, we did have a change in academic support, which was an effect on us.
Any other questions on the draft? Okay, and then Tenny Homes, if we look at their 3rd grade reading, we see a growth. And they did meet their LSG goal, actually they exceeded it, it was 26, and they exceeded it to 31. And then also their 3rd grade math LSG goal was 22, and they exceeded it to 23. So if it's indicated in blue, that means that it stayed the same. And when we go down and we see how it's in the sub-ops, we see plenty of growth in different areas. So I think that's pretty good to see.
The blue means to stay the same, green means it.
Correct. It was improved growth. Yes, sir. And then, so some of the things with Tenny Homes, she had touched on, but the focus areas, addressing the inclusion schedule, ongoing training for the inclusion staff, the support for the UR teachers, and then focus on the writing. And then for the ISD overall, were there any questions about Tenny Homes? And
Just
then,
looking, real quick, wanted to bring attention to the sub-comps in 4th grade. African American, right down the middle, we see a lot of green there and a lot of growth on both tests for 4th grade. I know that's been an area of focus for us.
yes, sir.
Okay, so for example, you said green is growth, but like the numbers were lower.
Are you looking at
NIV?
Oh,
Yes,
right,
it
right,
is.
yeah. Good call. Okay, sorry.
I made the same mistake.
One of them, see. Because when I get on that road, I start blinking from.
Yeah.
Any other questions about Tenny Homes?
Okay, and then just talking about from the district level, just addressing how we're addressing some of these things. We've been working on this year, we'll continue into the next year, recruitment efforts with HR and principals. Our UHP teacher residency program that starts this next year. Did we end up with 3 at Tenny Homes or just 2?
Just one.
The teacher residencies?
One.
It's down
One.
there? Okay. And then that's supported with that staffing grant that we received. And so that starts this next year in partnership with UHB for staffing. And then new teacher academy, 2-day training, beginning for our new teachers. We continue that support as we go throughout the year every single. Bless you. Thank you. Every professional development day we have that's scheduled in to continue follow-ups with them support. Then development of and implementation of special programs, frameworks, and guidelines by Dr. Prano and her team for our special populations. And then also our curriculum maps. All the campuses have built out, high schools in the process, they just started. We can bite off everything at once. They just started, really, I think, the second semester. And they, towards the end, and they're really hitting it hard. They're rolling in. Everybody's engaged in doing updates. We have a little bit of hiccup come to us because our curriculum management system, which is the Teach Resource, updated pretty big time. And so big overhaul of that. So the summer we met, I think it was last week, and the principals and the instructional staff and came up with a game plan on how we're going to go about updating that, along with the new science piece that began at the beginning of this next school year. So getting those ready to go. The campus principals have scheduled to have an orientation with all of their staff members at the beginning of the year on those curriculum maps, and then that will serve as their planning piece as we go forward. And what that's going to do is, and just like Ms. Flores said, it's a game changer. It ensures that every single teacher is on the same page. Now we're not going rogue, and we're not following the teach, so we're not teaching what we need to for them to be successful on the STAR. So everything should be in place by the time we get the first 6 weeks. Now, with some of the updates, we won't be able to have the whole year gone through, but we've already set plans in place where we at least have the first semester, if not the first 6 weeks, and we continue to update them as we go throughout the year. The other piece that Dr. Kasich was talking about was the literacy framework and possible HQIM exploration. The literacy framework, we received a grant, it was a LASSO grant, it was a planning grant, and there were two things that you could apply for. There's a number of things you could apply for, but you could apply for high quality instructional material grant, or you could just do a planning grant. And so we didn't want to commit ourselves to something that we didn't know about yet with the high quality instructional materials. So you could either do a planning grant for a framework in literacy or numeracy. And we started with literacy. And so we had a room full of people that all volunteered to take part in that. We'll have the framework ready to roll out pretty soon. But just to make that make sense for you, the framework talks about what does literacy need to look like at BCISD. This comes from the teachers and the staff, the practitioners, and what do we hold dear about that, and then what do we need to do in order to make that happen. It provides really just a step-by-step roadmap, whether it's silent sustained reading, increasing that in the classroom, access to on grade level text in the classroom. A lot of times if a kid doesn't read on grade level, maybe let them not read on grade level. We still need to make sure that they have access to that, even though they may be practicing somewhere else at the lower grade level. But a part of that is the high quality instructional materials. The state is, you know how we have our state adoption, and so we've talked about this. Okay, so yeah. So the state gives a certain amount of money in our allotment for that state adoption, for whatever textbook it is that we subscribe to buy the state adoption. They started having conversations about high quality instructional materials, and what that is, it's a whole, not just the actual resource, but it maps out the lessons, the assessments, everything, all in one thing, and it's completely approved by TEA. What they're saying is that you can continue to use the state adopted text and whatever it is that you want to, but we're not going to continue to fund it. But we will in the future fund HQIM. So in a way, they're telling you, you better take a look at it. And so we do have that very same team that did the literacy framework will begin to go out to different schools that are already using it and implementing it in September and take a look at it and see if that's something that we want to do with BCISD. The other piece is the implementation of the TIA. We'll start our data capture year this year. And so I'm extremely hopeful that will motivate our teachers and that we'll see some growth out of that. And then our pre-K partnerships, Dr. McKay's been spearheading that. We talked about where our kids come to us and kinder readiness. And so I know that I've been gone the last couple of days. I know there's been lots of meetings just in 2 days. There was a lot of meetings last week about getting that set up. Does it actually look like so we could possibly start that when we begin school? Dr. Do you want to say anything about that?
Yes, I mentioned to the board, we've got our tours of the facilities. Just so everyone knows, we want to address our early childhood literacy, specifically kinder readiness. So we're going down to the daycares in the community. We're partnering with Texas Workforce Solutions as well as Texas A&M on pre-K partnerships that will help us address literacy even at the daycare level. When they come to us, we would be full partners with them on resources. We've already been talking curriculum with them. I heard that today they were setting up a room for us already. The community, the individuals who qualify for this, not every daycare qualifies, but we can partner with every daycare. And so there's a certain certification that escapes me, but they must all have that certification. Rising Star certification, and if they do have that certification as a daycare, there's a level 3 and 4 in our community. All we have is 3. There's 2 of them, the 3s and 4s, so they're very highly rated. The data when they come to us looks really good. It's because they have a curriculum, and so we're going to become, again, we have to bring an MOU to you all. We're not there yet. We'll bring an MOU. We'll have a presentation to see if this is beneficial to all of us and we feel good about it. But nonetheless, that's where we are, is working with these entities to see it does come with some ADA increase to us. If we're looking at a pre-K-4 partnership, you can go as low as pre-K-3. If you go to pre-K-3, the district provides the teacher, and we're trying to find teachers ourselves. The pre-K-4 with that certification that those 2 creative care, I know has it, and this ring lines, yes. And so they're already certified, and they have certified staff, so we don't have to hire. So we negotiate ADA, and of course there's best practices. We've been visiting with school districts across Texas on what is a fair agreement on ADA pass-through for funding. Essentially, we would be writing them a check throughout the year for their percentage of our partnership. And again, it's just a mutual relationship. We're also exploring, I know Elizabeth is here, Elizabeth is our federal programs, completely different group. So you can work with Texas A&M, Texas Workforce Solution on these Rising Star certified pre-Ks. However, as you know, we have a Head Start here in town. If you go through TEA, they also offer a partnership. So Elizabeth is spearheading that, and I know Elizabeth sent us some sample memos of understanding already. So when we come to you, once we get all of our facts straight and we're ready to present and for consideration, even the MOUs are coming from folks who are doing amazing work and have really built great programs. If you want to do some research, I think the be-all, end-all with pre-K partnerships is Nacogdoches ISD. I believe they opened a pre-K center, pre-K center, 20 rooms for their partnership. So they are definitely a flagship. And Elizabeth, I believe you've already reached out to them, correct? And have a Zoom set up or something. Already, yeah. But thank you for your work on that, and everyone that's working with that. And the charity staff has been great as well. A lot of support and a lot of folks working on this together. So hopefully that'll be really beneficial addressing it even soon.
Any other questions?
New teacher orientation, is that just for teachers that are new to teaching, or is that to every teacher that's new to basic guys?
New to the district.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we also, we do a Black Hat Teacher Academy for the summer. And so this year we didn't have anybody for that. But what we've done in the past is if there are teachers that maybe need some additional support, some one-on-one, then they can get that instructional facilitator for the summer. But that teacher have.
Is that along with the orientation, is that whenever they learn about all these awesome tools and stuff that we've been implementing with help with the syllabus and all that stuff, or is that?
That'll happen in the new teacher orientation, and then the 2-day training academy that we're talking about, the new teacher academy, for all new teachers, but that'll continue throughout the year. And also the campuses will also be doing that individually on top of that. So they'll get initial exposure in the new teacher academy, but then the campuses will be doing their own in addition to that with their teachers.
And then when will we get RAF rated? And do we have a pool to estimate it, or do we know a ballpark?
There is an estimator that, again, it's a, I believe there's an estimator in ODS, just FYI, we haven't opened that up because we're still preliminary scores, but we could run that. The last performance reporting newsletter that I received did not give a month or a date. I don't know if you've seen anything on accountability. It just said coming soon or something like that. But I haven't seen a date, but performance reporting does put out a calendar. I did look at that. And at last I checked, of course, it was coming soon.
Yeah, I would expect it in August,
We do have an estimator.
obviously, hopefully August. And then once the scores that you have are preliminary, and they'll probably stay the same, but the reason they're preliminary is so, you know, let's say a counselor has scored something or they did something wrong, which they submitted all the exams, maybe they said student was scored when it shouldn't have been scored or whatever. So all of those things, if there's, you know, corrections that need to be made. So once all that's done and settled, then they'll send the scores to final account for final accountability. Once we get those files, then we'll know for sure that we have the correct data.
I think also in making sure those are accurate, a couple of other things too, that we know is mentioned several times and several administrators have on the inclusion of the retesters. You know, you'll see numbers shift because the state washes that data. It washes. And so the state, the numbers we showed you here will be washed again for our snapshot kids, let's say. And so those numbers will change.
So the kids,
But not dramatic. They won't change dramatically.
so we have, you know, the retesters in the high school, they'll be testing again, actually it's next week. And so once that comes in, that'll all filter into it as well as accountability. So there'll be a little bit before we have to go solid knowledge for us in the class.
Anything else?
And I said snapshot kid, I should explain. Those are the students that were with us at the snapshot date in October that become official. We had a training today, Mr. Townsend, on continuing enrollment, no longer enrollment, et cetera. And so for accountabilities, that's a perfect example of the snapshot kids that we're responsible for. Some kids will move in and they're a passer and they move in and they, you know, that can happen.
All right, thank you so much, I appreciate it. Okay, we do need a motion to approve the LSG presentation, if anybody wants to make a motion to that.
Make the motion to approve the presentation.
All right, is there a second to the motion? Okay, there is a second, any further comments, questions? All right, hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. All right, moving on to, and we talked about community engagement already. Next month is July is goal 1 and goal 2, and then a board evaluation. So be looking for your board evaluation in your email before the meeting to complete that, please. All right, reports. Facilities rental, the GKD regulation.
Got some handouts before we updated this even today. So this is, again, just for everyone, this is a regulation, not a board policy. So today, we shared this in a newsletter, but nonetheless, please at any time, send us your feedback. But this one is the most recently updated one, and I'd like to bring your attention to a couple of things on this. And so what we're looking at today is cleaning up. So we know we have our board policy, which is legal. We have our local policy, which I have a copy for you as well with a recommended long-term change. So we have legal, I just handed you local, which is the board's policy. And then a regulation is mainly for the staff to ensure we're all on the same page and that we're all, again, using the same playbook. The regulation is the playbook. And so this will remain in draft until we feel good about it. It doesn't require, you know, at any time when we feel good about it, we can launch it. And I'm sure everyone here would agree, we would love to launch this July 1 at the latest.
So if you recall, just for reference, if we're changing policy, local or legal, we have to have 2 readings. Regulation, we don't. So regulation, we can say, everybody can look over it and say, okay, it's great. whatever extra changes may need to be changed between now and July, and in July, we can make a motion and pass it because it's a regulation, it's not a local policy.
And it wouldn't require a motion.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, no approval at all.
so it just goes in seven.
Yeah, it's an administrative regulation, just on how the, and a key point to that is when you're reviewing this, and we use multiple school districts to see what people were, and Scott, you were a big part of it, so please feel free. But we use several school districts to see, are we missing anything? And Scott, we may in a minute talk about some of those things that we learned from other districts as we put into the policy. So first step, looking at other districts, we had a big round table, we had a smaller round table, bringing this together. We also visited with TASB Legal Services, which are a part of our agreement. It's not an additional charge for their legal services. So they watched it as well and checked with local policy, and they did make one recommendation, which I'll get to, that is addressed here, but just to clean it up, it will not affect how things are done. And case in point, on page 3 of GKD regulation, we feel it's important that we're all on the same page. If a principal or an athletic director approves the use of a facility under their domain, then a process of approval so everyone's on the same page. What that will look like, you see in items 12, 13, 14, and 15. That's a little bit about what we're looking at for establishing that communication to where everyone is on the same page. And so those are the specific examples. Ms. English is also working on our new website that we just launched, has a workflow application. There's a lot to learn there, but our hope is that will be something that can be automated and combined. So now you've increased your efficiency, and we're also addressing being on the same page by a workflow of approval. And finally, we're going to create a district calendar so that all stakeholders can see it. I need the gym. Okay, you need the gym. You know, a lot of folks would need the gym for different things, let's say. So that is the sequence there of all being on the same page. And again, this is absolutely for your feedback, and you can give me that feedback tonight or at any time, email on any concerns you have. We use TASB risk management. I'm correct, right, fellows? Our business office works with TASB risk management. They made the recommendation on page 7, if you will. On page 7, midway where you see insurance, and this one's going to be significant. That's the first thing they caught, is they said, we recommend that you use our language. There are risk managers. You use our language in that section. And we used a little bit more of a general, because we'll evaluate it based on the need and the use, because also in there is a requirement of $1 million worth of insurance. And so that is not needed in every, that's not needed in every case. And so I'm just telling you, we took that sentence out, as in we will evaluate the insurance based on the need, but being transparent and saying it did have that listing. So those are the notes that I had. Scott, anything you want to add to the process, conversation, point some things out?
That was very well said.
Okay, thank you.
As far as the local change that this will be processed in July.
Yes, and I can move to that now. I just wanted to kind of, yes, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
But on the approval, if you'll notice that approval chain does not take away the authority from the athletic director, let's say, to be first approver. Doesn't take the autonomy away from the principal to be first approver. What we're simply saying is that if you notice the language highlighted in yellow on 202, the superintendent or designee is authorized to approve any non-school use of a district facility. The designee is key, because you're like, who's the designee? Well, then you go over here and see who it is. And so that's kind of the rationale of the change. Still the same amount of autonomy for those individuals who were mentioned previously. And there's one more important one that we all need to know and our committee needs to know, because it came up and I saw it in here. It is, On page 2 of 2 again, under exception, just so you're all on the same page, this was something that was discussed in committee. So it says no approval shall be required for non-school related recreational use of the district's, and this is key, unlocked outdoor recreational facilities such as track playgrounds, etc., tennis courts. The key, notice it says such as. It doesn't say that such as, it doesn't say. So I interpret that, not that we would do this, but if we put a lock on, because they're unlocked, just like it says, the tennis courts, if we put a lock on there, I see this as changing the game as in, well, those are examples, but it's locked. And so that was compelling to our conversation about what about open areas and liability, et cetera. And so we're still looking into those pieces. Scott brought up some good points about that, but all things considered, I feel that's a pretty good paragraph right there overall. But I wanted to point it out in case y'all had some concerns. Obviously, we need to talk to TASB risk management a little bit more. We talked about if you're out there mowing and you cut a trench somewhere out there with a tire that was muddy and now you've got a hazard there. So we'll talk to TASB risk management about that. But that was a concern for us just with the open areas, but impossible just to completely regulate because there's no locks there. So, any questions or feedback that you'd like to give us at this time?
The opposite could be true there. Somebody forgot to lock Memorial Stadium. Maybe they just walked into it.
That would be true, and that would be accurate.
Great, any questions? If you do have questions from here on, if you will please just contact Dr. Mack on that regulation, and then as far as GKD local, if that is what y'all are reading, then we'll just put it on the July agenda for first reading. If there's any feedback on the actual GKD local, please talk to Dr. Mack as well, and give that to him. All right, moving on to our consent agenda. Is there anything that is written in the consent agenda that anyone is wanting to remove for further discussion? All right, is there a motion to be made?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented at board vote.
All right, we have a motion on the table. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
All right, we have a first and a second. Any further questions, comments? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. All right, we will move into executive session. We're going to convene into closed session under personnel matters if necessary may be taken into closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.074 to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, resignation, duties, discipline, reassignment, duties, discipline, resignation, or dismissal of public officer or employee, including contract recommendations for campus and district level administrators and teachers. We will move into closed session at 7:33. reconvene into open session at 8:43. Did you get that, Mark?
What time?
8:43.
8:43.
All right, discuss and consider approval of hiring of contractual personnel. Is there a motion to be made?
I'll make a motion to approve contractual personnel as presented in 4
Is there a second to the motion? All right, we have a first and a second. Any comments, questions, further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Okay. And we pause for
Yes.
Dr. to make an introduction.
Sure.
We're all very excited.
We're sorry.
You're excited. Hell.
I'm sure.
But we'll let
More
you
than
know.
anybody else.
So, yes, Michelle Guyton, she will be joining us, thank you very much. Coordinator, so, yes, basically alumni. And then also joining us in our department is Brian Guyton, and he is one of our new LSSPs that we desperately need.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay, last item of business is adjournment. Is there a motion to be made?
Pretty much to adjourn.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Felix seconded the motion. Real quick, I want to make sure that y'all saw in Dr. Mack's newsletter, Tuesday, July 23rd is the leadership retreat. Wednesday, August 7th is the chamber new teacher breakfast. And Friday, August 9th is the staff convocation. So make note of those on your calendar. Love for you to be in attendance to those 3 upcoming things. All right, any other questions? Comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh.
Oh.
Is this our last meeting?
No, we've got a bunch more, I'm just signing up for about 20 years.
I'm all right. Was it already?
No, I was gonna say something, and I was like, why, you can't just like let us go off like a fart in the wind.
Okay, on that note, it is, all in favor of adjournment.
Aye.